A lovesick cop had a dark secret for 20 long years as she climbed the law enforcement ladder. Her smackdown from the top couldn't have been sweeter, especially since it was her own bad habits that did her in. Stephanie Lazarus was the epitome of the scorned woman, but no one knew. Throughout her college days, she had a casual dating relationship with John Ruetten, who lived in the same dorm that she did at the University of California. John, a mechanical engineering major, and Stephanie, a political science major, were both athletic and bonded over college life and sports. John considered the relationship a casual situation, but Stephanie was far more emotionally invested. She would steal his clothes when he showered and often took suggestive pictures of him as he slept. After graduation, John went to work for a hard drive manufacturer and Stephanie as an LA police officer. They saw each other every once in a while, but it was nothing serious. He didn't find true love until the day he met Sherry Rasmussen. Sherry and John met in 1984 at a social event, although both had attended UCLA at the same time. Sherry was intellectually gifted and had graduated from high school early at 16. By the time she met John, she was in her late 20s and a director of nursing in a prestigious medical center. There was an immediate attraction between John and Sherry. It didn't take long before they fell in love and were engaged. Stephanie heard the news at the surprise 25th birthday party she threw for John, and it didn't go over well. Stephanie was devastated. In true scorned woman style, she started showing up at John and Sherry's apartment, unannounced. She wrote long, sad letters to John's mom about her undying love for him and told her diary all her unrequited feelings. Once, she brought a pair of snow skis to John and Sherry's condo, dressed in skimpy workout gear, and asked John to wax them for her. Sherry was livid, but John assured her they were just friends. Sherry didn't buy it. She was sure that Stephanie was on a mission to destroy her relationship with John and vented to her dad about the situation. When Stephanie came back for her skis, she came in full police uniform after John had left for the day. Sherry felt Stephanie was trying to intimidate her, and when she thought she saw her following her on the street, she once again vented to her dad and told John what she thought. A few months before the wedding day, Stephanie called John to her apartment to tell him her true feelings. The two ended up in a romantic entanglement that later John said was to give her closure. This was a decision that still haunts him today. Stephanie took the one-night stand as a sign that she had a chance and showed up at Sherry's workplace, this time with screams and curse words. She told her she had slept with John and that they had an ongoing relationship. Before storming out, she said to Sherry, "If I can't have John, no one else will." On February 24th, 1986, John left Sherry in bed as he went to work. She had planned to stay home that day, and it was the last time anyone would see her alive. John returned home from work that evening to find the garage door open and Sherry's car gone. Glass was shattered across the pavement. As he went into the house, he found his wife lying on the living room floor, riddled with holes, bruised and bitten. The room was in disarray, and a gory handprint was smeared on the wall. There had been several burglaries in the area at the time, and police immediately linked Sherry's case to those cases. The suspects were described as two Latino men. Even though there had been some electronic equipment stacked by a bedroom door, nothing was taken from the house, except the couple's marriage license. The missing car was found a week later, but yielded no new evidence. Sherry's father, Nels Rasmussen, and his wife, Loretta, told investigators about Stephanie and her strange behavior. But when another burglary happened in the same area and the suspects carried the same firearm, police stuck with their original theory. Besides, Stephanie was a cop, one of their own, and the last person the detectives thought was capable of such a horrendous action. The case went cold. Many of the police who worked on the case retired. Investigators never forgot the case, however, particularly the bite mark, which is a clue usually present during female struggles, not male burglars. Over the next 23 years, Stephanie Lazarus dedicated herself to her work in law enforcement. Her conduct was impeccable. She was never admonished or found complicit in any wrongdoings. In fact, she was a model officer. She even won a gold medal in the World Police and Fire Games in 1987. Stephanie won multiple awards at work, too, and climbed the ranks to a position as high-level detective in the Commercial Felonies Department. She worked on art theft cases and opened her own private investigation firm, Unique Investigations. No one suspected what Stephanie Lazarus was capable of. While Stephanie was busy living her best life, Sherry's dad was busy calling and visiting and writing letters to the police about his daughter's case and his suspicions about the highly regarded Detective Lazarus. John had remarried and moved away from the area. Stephanie had also married and adopted a child. DNA evidence had become prominent in the 1990s, and evidence of the bite mark found on Sherry was tested. It was determined that it came from a female. The forensic investigator found a report in the file detailing Stephanie's confrontational visit with Sherry and asked LAPD if they had questioned her. She was told that 2 burglars were responsible, and they were still looking for them. The Stephanie Lazarus lead was shelved once again. In 2009, the case was reopened. The new detectives on the case decided the burglar theory was going nowhere and started from scratch. A deeper dive into the evidence showed that burglary was not even a probability. Sherry's jewelry box was in plain sight and untouched. The stack of electronics looked staged. Going from the DNA evidence, they developed a list of 5 female suspects, and Stephanie was at the top. However, because she was a high-ranking member of law enforcement, they had to tread carefully. As they worked through their suspect list, investigators quickly realized Stephanie was the only one that made sense. That's when they put her life under a microscope. They discovered that Stephanie had owned the same type of firearm used in Sherry's case, but had reported it stolen shortly after. With no way to find it after so many years, they knew a DNA link was the only way to successfully pin Stephanie to the case. Investigators devised a covert operation to gather DNA from Stephanie Lazarus. They followed her action for several days until she discarded a fast food cup in a public garbage bin. Police confiscated it and matched the DNA to the bite marks on Sherry Rasmussen. The cat was out of the bag. Investigators had to figure out a way to arrest Stephanie before she figured out what was going on. Officers involved in the takedown were kept in the dark about their suspect until the last minute. Stephanie was told that she was needed in an interrogation room to answer questions about a high-profile art theft case. The room was carefully chosen to ensure Stephanie would not get suspicious when asked to relinquish her service gun. Once they got her inside, they began a grueling interrogation that lasted hours.
Yeah, I mean, we dated, what's this all about?
23 years after Sherry Rasmussen met her end at the hands of a lovesick cop, Stephanie Lazarus was finally in custody. The defense tried to have the case dismissed before the trial ever started, but the judge ordered the trial to proceed. The defense then asked that search warrant evidence he negated and Stephanie's interrogation statements be barred. Both motions were denied. The trial finally started in 2012. It was a media magnet, with reporters focusing on all the elements that made it more like a movie of the week than a trial. A cold case, a love triangle with a scorned lady cop in the spotlight. Media gold. When the prosecutor gave his opening statement, it became full-fledged box office brilliance. A bite, a bullet, a gun barrel, and a broken heart. That's the evidence that will prove this case. Indeed, it did.
I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
Stephanie was found guilty and sentenced to 27 years to life. She's serving her time at the California Institute for Women in Corona. John cried throughout his testimony and stated in an emotional impact statement his regret at spending that last night with Stephanie. It breaks my heart that what happened to her happened because she met and married me. Do you think Stephanie would have avoided capture so long if DNA had been available earlier? Or were her fellow officers going to dismiss evidence no matter how strong it was? Leave your thoughts below. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to this channel.